Welcome to our science class. My name is Mr. Raymond Pocolangas and I will be your teacher for today's video.
So what should you learn today? Today's topic is about tracing the path of typhoons that enter the Philippine area of responsibility using a map and a tracking data. You are also expected to track the path taken by a tropical cyclone given its coordinates. So make sure to take notes of necessary information that will help you throughout your module. If you are ready, then let's get started. Before we proceed to our main goal, we need to understand what a typhoon is. Typhoons are storms that occur over the Northwest Pacific Ocean and west of the international dateline. Remember that hurricane and typhoon are all terms of a storm used in different regions on Earth. And since Philippines is along the Northwest Hemisphere, we are using the term typhoon. Our country is one of the most storm-exposed country on Earth. So to make monitoring easy for the forecasters of neighboring countries, large regions of the Pacific Ocean is broken to smaller domains called areas of responsibilities. It is where PAG-ASA, or the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, constantly monitors weather occurrences. The Philippine area of responsibility is bounded by the following coordinates. These are positions outlined from the angles of latitude, an imaginary horizontal line that runs 0 to 90 degrees north and south, and angles of longitude, the imaginary vertical line that runs 0 to 180 degrees east and west. Identifying the coordinates is very important for us, not only to locate the Philippine area of responsibility, but also in tracking the motion of a storm. Now, if you are ready, let's try to trace the path of a typhoon. For us to plot and track the motion of a typhoon, we need to have a tracking map of the Philippine area of responsibility and the tracking data of a typhoon. In this example, the hypothetical typhoon has 5 identified positions. Keep in mind that the intersection of the angles of latitude and longitude serves as the coordinates position. So for point A, the coordinates are 12 degree north and 137 degree east. The intersection of these imaginary lines marks our position A. What have you observed on point A? As you observe, point A is outside the boundary of the Philippine area of responsibility. This means that the typhoon has only its international name and yet to be labeled with its local name once it enters the boundary. Now let's proceed to point B. The coordinates of position B are 13 degrees north and 131 degrees east. Again, the point where the coordinates intersect is our position B. Now what can you tell about point B? Looking at point B, the typhoon has entered the Philippine area of responsibility. Thus, PAG-ASA will give its local name. Now let's go to position C. Its coordinates are 15 degrees north and 124 degrees east. Now what can you say about the typhoon here at point C? Very good! Here at position C, the typhoon is approaching Luzon and it is near to make its landfall. Now let's go to position D. It is found at the coordinates 18 degrees north and 120 degrees east. Could you tell what happened to the typhoon here at point D? Looking at position D, the typhoon had already crossed the northern Luzon. Now what do you think happened to its maximum wind? Since it already made its landfall, its maximum wind decreases. But since it crossed another ocean, the typhoon might recover its strength as it continues to move. And finally, the coordinates of position E are 22 degrees north and 116 degrees of east. Now, what can you say about the typhoon here at position E? Very good. The typhoon has now left the Philippine area of responsibility. To summarize, here's the path taken by our hypothetical typhoon from point A up to point E. Now, what can you say about the path taken by the hypothetical typhoon? How does it move? Very good. Typhoons usually move east to west across the country, heading north or west as they go. That is because the Philippines is located west of the Pacific where most typhoons develop. Now that we know how to track the path of a typhoon, then why do we need to monitor typhoons regularly? Very good. So the government and news agencies ideally can warn residents of coastal areas and greatly reduce the loss of life during this calamity. Whatever the catastrophe we might encounter in the future, whether it's a typhoon or other events, it is always important that we are aware on what to do to secure our safety. I hope you learned something today and I hope you enjoyed the lesson. You can now proceed to your modules and complete your activities. To learn more about the topic, you can go to the links of the following online resources shown on the screen.